Host of NBA Today, and the NBA trade deadline is quickly approaching. We'll have not one,
not two, not three, not four,
but 5 hours of up-to-the-minute trades and analysis from all of our insiders around the league.
The asking prices are really high. Do you make a deal?
Why would we assume the drama is over?
Why would the Jazz do that?
Don't miss NBA Today's trade deadline special on February 9th at 1 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. Now it's time for Putting in Work, presented by Upwork. The Mavs, they pulled off a major trade over the weekend by acquiring Kyrie Irving along with Markieff Morris and putting forth the effort to get Luka Doncic an all-star running mate. So here's a look at the Mavericks' closing lineup, what it could look like when the Irving trade is official, with a backcourt averaging over 60 points per game. That's in Luka and Kyrie. So this is a bold move that the Mavericks made here, but I have the two perfect people to help me break this down, because they are going to be, Zach, what I believe is just an offensive juggernaut. But how is this going to actually work?
Yeah, when a trade like this happens, people start to worry about is one ball enough? What's Kyrie going to do when Luka has the ball? Is Luka going to be happy when Kyrie has the ball? Forget all of that. This offense is going to be incredible. Luka with shooting, Kyrie with shooting. It's all going to be incredible. They're going to be very hard to stop. But the first thing I thought of was something that you know very well, which is, yeah, they should cooperate a little bit, and in particular, they should cooperate in the pick and roll, just like Kyrie and LeBron used to do in Cleveland. It was your go-to play, and one of the reasons is, A, they can both shoot, they can both roll, they can both pass, and you cannot switch it, because LeBron there and Luka now is going to beat you up if you switch a little Tony Parker or a little whoever onto him. And I think they could really, and you can talk about some of these plays, I think they can make hay out of it.
Yeah, no, the side pick and roll with the 1-3 pick and roll matchup, forced to switch. Kyrie snaking it back to the middle, has little guy Brogdon, high release jumper. We went to it every time. It was our fourth quarter plays.
And just to highlight, Zach, the reason that we're showing these plays with LeBron is because we talk all the time about how Luka has some baby Bron qualities to him.
Now, he's not going to just plow through dudes and dunk like this, but look, the whole point of it is you can't switch it, and they have a counter for every defense. If you trap, and they both, one can screen, one can handle the ball. They can switch roles. If you trap, you're dead. If you hedge, you're dead. If you switch, you're dead, and Kyrie can flare out for threes. I think they should lean really, really hard into that, because it's an action that's going to be tough to guard. If you surround those two with shooting, forget the one-ball problem. They are going to score like gangbusters. The questions are just going to be defense.
Right. On the defensive end, can they stay afloat?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think everyone's underrating Kyrie's defense. It's got better since he's been in Brooklyn. Obviously, in Cleveland, people question it, but Kyrie can play defense. When he puts his mind to it, he can play defense. I think the key for them right now is they need to find a wing defender, a 3-and-D guy. And my dark horse, Jay Crowder.
Hey.
Jay Crowder. If they can't get a deal done in Phoenix, Jay Crowder, take the buyouts, get the rest of the money from Mark Cuban.
So on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being super optimistic, how optimistic are you about this working, Kyrie and the Mavs?
This is going to work.
This is going to work.
They're
all right.
Plug him in.
Kendrick Perkins, well, where do you fall on that 1 to 10 scale? Is this going to work?
You know, I've been going on this rant about how Kyrie did Kevin Durant, but guess what? I'm here to tell you right now, if Luka and Jalen Brunson went to the Western Conference Finals last year, I don't know what people go expect or not think that Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic ceiling is not the finals. Like, forget the defensive and all that defensive side of things, who's going to guard who. Let's just talk about those two in particular and what they're going to do offensively. We're talking about Luka Doncic, who's in my eyes LeBron James minus the athleticism. And we're talking about a Kyrie Irving, one of the most skilled players to ever play the game of basketball. Kyrie Irving is going to play at an elite level. One, because he's playing and he's auditioning to get that max deal that he wants. So he knows he has to perform. Two, he knows that his opportunity and chances are slim to show the world that he could be trusted, even if it's for a small sample size. So you're going to get the best version of him. You're putting him and Luka in the backcourt together in the Western Conference that is wide open, that you can't just point a finger at no team in the West and say that team is the favorite clear cut. This duo is dangerous. And look, don't give me nothing about the interior defense, because they still have a veteran over there by the name of JaVale McGee, who they've been resting, who know how to rise to the occasion in big moments and can anchor their defense and also be a live threat at the basket. They still have Tim Hardaway Jr., who is an excellent third option player to go to, who is capable of giving you 20 to 25 points on any given night and having big moments in the postseason. This duo is dangerous, and I feel like the ceiling for this duo in Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic is the NBA Finals.
What happened to Kendrick Perkins? Did I just hear Kendrick Perkins, enforcer, say, forget the defense stuff? Who cares about the defense stuff? What happened to you? Look, they did make the conference finals last year with Jalen Brunson, but also with Spencer Dinwiddie, Dorian Finney-Smith, and some other stuff. Josh Green is going to have to step up. JaVale McGee hasn't played all year. They got to prove, leaving aside Kyrie's reliability, they got to prove that they're a contender before I just write them in.
I'm not even
Zach, I keep telling you, they're not playing defense in the league no more. Malika, Zach.
Perk, I'm going to let you take the break to get your thoughts together because we've heard from you. Tristan, we've heard from you. Zach Lowe, we've heard your thoughts on the trade, but expected to be out through the All-Star break in mid-February. Now, the Warriors, they're 20-18 without Steph in the lineup. They're 7-8 without him, and not surprisingly, they aren't nearly as good offensively, scoring 7 fewer points per game without their two-time MVP. So welcoming in Ramona Shelmerd and Mark Spears. And Mark, I want to start with you since you're based in the Bay Area. Where do the Warriors go from here? It feels like just every time they look like they're starting to get right, they take another beating.
Yeah, Murphy's Law is definitely beating up this team, and losing Steph again. That's 30 points, 6 rebounds, and 6 assists a game. I guess the little silver lining is that, it's part of this time off is going to be during the All-Star break. So they'll lose or actually kind of gain a week with Steph being out at that time. And there is optimism that he will be back before March. The Warriors definitely need Jordan Poole to pick it up. He loves and relishes being a starter, where he's averaging 25 points and three-pointers a game as a starter. The guy the Warriors really need to step up is Andrew Wiggins, the guy that signed a big deal in the offseason, was an all-star a year ago, but has been struggling since he got back from injury. He's only scored 20 points once since returning on January 1st. And another thing to keep in mind, today the Warriors announced that Ryan Rollins is going to be gone for the rest of the season as a rookie, as a season-ending foot injury. But the Warriors are not going to try to get injured players exception to fill his spot.
Well, my sense with the Steph Curry injury is that this is the kind of injury that they feel like they avoided. This could have been a lot worse. And Mark, you've heard there's optimism he can come back sooner. I don't know. I think they're preparing to be without him for a while here. But that's why you have Jordan Poole. Jordan Poole, they were experimenting with him in the starting lineup. They've kind of gone back and forth, back to the big lineup with Kevon Looney in the starting lineup. This just puts Jordan Poole right back in that spot, and he signed a big contract there too as well. And so I think that is, if you're the Warriors here, this is where you have this is go time for them in this season, where you're defending champion. You have a bunch of players on contracts that make a lot of money, and when they're in championship contention, they're willing to spend that money, but. This is the time where you're in the play-in tournament at this point.
Right. So, okay, we're gonna stick in the West here, but go from one Western Conference contender that's having maybe a less than stellar year, it's fair to say, to another, because the Suns, they're trying to right the ship. Devin Booker, he spoke with reporters this morning saying that he was going to play and he's looking forward to playing tomorrow. But Ramona, there has been so much swirling around this Suns team. What do you make of where things stand out?
Oh, not to mention they're getting a new owner this week.
Right.
Okay. And so this is all up in this new owner. Nobody knows how he will behave as an owner, Matt Ishbia, if he's approved and announced and they go forward. But generally speaking, new owners are aggressive in the way they want to improve the team, and the Suns were one of the teams that were having conversation with the Brooklyn Nets about Kyrie Irving. They did not get him, and some of their players' names have gotten out as potentially discussed. Now, Chris Paul's name has been out there as somebody who was potentially discussed. The level of discussion is still kind of up for debate of how serious that was, but Chris Paul's the kind of guy where if he was going to be traded, he's been traded a couple times in his career, it would have gotten to him and it would have been discussed with him. My understanding is it never got to that level where he was involved in those discussions. And so Is there anything they need to discuss with him now? Do you need to patch up some feelings? My understanding is right now he's fine. But the reason his name comes up is because his contract is not fully guaranteed going forward.
Right. And Chris Paul, I mean, you have to believe he is the heart, the soul, the heartbeat of this Phoenix Suns team that is still trying to sort of find their way this season. Ramona Shelburne, Mark Spears, thank you so much for spending some time with us here on NBA.